Folks, grab a seat and pour your drink neat as Whiskers and Whiskeys presents Tales of the Trophies, Season 4, Best of the Rest. I'm Mike with EJ. How's it going, pal?
I only have one question for you.
Yeah.
Is it third down?
You've been saving that one, huh? You've been saving that one.
Oh, yeah.
I got the chainsaw.
Get it going.
Hold on. I've been waiting. Folks, our podcast start got delayed. Our recording start got delayed by about 20 minutes here. And I got to pour my drink. And you should appreciate this. Look at that. Yeah. Little Trogs Nibble Giant.
It's a nice night for that.
You look great, pal. You're all decked out in the folks. Let me tell you what EJ's got on right now. For the listeners at home, let me tell you what EJ's got on. So EJ, when he did the third down thing, he did brandish a foam chainsaw, which he got from Corvallis. He's wearing his Bart Bridge Corvallis hat right now, which is a nice black with an orange circle on it against a white background with a minimalistic beaver in the circle, and that says Corvallis. And it says Oregon on it. And then he is wearing just an absolute, a classic black Nike quarter zip with an embroidered patch of the Oregon State Beaver, the old school logo on it. And
Benny
the Beaver. And you look fantastic. You're fresh back from the West Coast, from the Oregon Trail. Tell me all about it, man. And just so the listeners know, I have not asked EJ for any details about this trip they took. I wanted to save it all for the podcast. So I know nothing. I've seen some pictures. I know some things because you sent to me, but very little details of what happened. So
yeah, so just for the listeners here, if you're really pumped and excited about the Ben Schwartzwalder trophy and the trip to Oregon does not interest you at all, I recommend fast forwarding approximately an hour or so, because we got two major location breakdowns here, two different experiences that I'm going to talk through. If you're in it for the entirety, I mean, just grab that seat. Yeah, buckle up, grab that seat. Yeah, pour a drink neat, because I got quite the story to tell you. So let's start on Thursday. This trip is a Thursday, coming back Sunday, and I'm going to tell it in its entirety because Sunday was quite a day as well. So,
oh wow, okay,
yeah, it was not in a great way, but it was.
That's right.
It was a long day. So Thursday,
yes,
that's when I went on this trip with one of our listeners, who's also my coworker, who is native of Oregon, Dave. This has been something that we've circled for a while because he's a big Ducks fan, I'm a Spartans fan, and we tried to go about a decade ago. The two schools played each other a home and home, and we wanted to do it then. It just didn't quite work out, so we made sure that we made the trip this time round. So I landed in Portland, I don't know, maybe 3 hours ahead of him. So I got in.
That's great. That's great, yeah. By the way, being the first one there, especially if you're just waiting, because you either wait in the airport, head to the hotel, go to the hotel bar, and you're going. You are setting the pace. You're the pace car. That's the best feeling.
Yes, so I knew I think I landed around, say, like 5 or so local time. He wasn't going to be until 9:30, so I had some time. Thankfully, it's Thursday, so there's Thursday night football. So I just made sure to grab our rental car, which for his recommendation was not to get a dinky little cheap car because of the potential weather. We got ourselves a pickup truck, and then I ended up getting. I had quite a few to choose from, actually, about 4. I was surprised. So I went with, I was really in between a Gladiator, just because it's a Gladiator, and this Dodge Ram that looked amazing. And I went with the Dodge Ram.
I hear good things about the Dodge Ram.
Well, and it was a Rebel, so it was like their souped up version, like a Denali, I guess, if you like GMCs. But it was sick on the inside. And you know what? I've never been a truck guy, but my dad did have a Dodge Ram growing up. There's nothing better than getting into a full size pickup truck. Like
I'm considering buying one. I'm considering giving up the Bronco and going for a full size truck. Yeah.
it was just like I don't know. I loved it back in high school because I've always been more like a car person. Or if I had a choice, I'd maybe pick like a bigger, like a Yukon or something like a bigger SUV. But like the traditional full frame, full size bodied pickup trucks and SUVs, there's just you can't beat them. And it was so great to drive that bad boy around. It was that was great. So
that's awesome. That's a great. That is the perfect vehicle for you going. Maybe not to Oregon, but to Corvallis. That's the perfect gritty pack 2 vehicle. It's a chariot. Yeah.
So that was the thing. So we land in Portland, but our Airbnb is actually right near Corvallis. So that's about an hour 45 south, hour 45 minutes south. So because I had a big ass pickup truck, I was looking for just a sports bar to watch Thursday Night Football to kill some time, but I didn't want to be downtown, right? Because it's a big ass pickup truck. So I found this like little place off the river, which ended up being this total like neighborhood type bar, which was absolutely perfect.
Nice.
And this is where the trouble began.
Ah, damn. Oh, you should have saved like pictures to your photos, and we could have like done a slideshow like old people do. Like my Uncle Bob and Aunt Patty, every time they visit us, they always have slideshows from their vacations. I don't really give a shit about your cruise in Alaska, but I do give all the shits about this. So
I will say I planned on with this episode, we'll probably post the pictures of the trophy because recently we've just kind of done stories. I know I just did stories while we were there, but we can do an actual post that just kind of shows some of the highlights of the trip, some of the pictures that we took. So,
all right, so you're at the neighborhood bar, and this is where you ran to Barney Rubble.
Yeah, we ran into some Barney Rubble. So I'm sitting down, and the first thing I'm thinking is, okay, I can't put. I don't really want to put a bet on this Falcons Tampa game, but let's look at the next day, right? Let's look at our Friday slate of college football. Let's look at Saturday. Well, I open up FanDuel and it's not one of the supported states. Trouble. And I went, oh no, this can't be happening because I would have placed all these bets beforehand. And I think I texted you this. So I did text you this because you were gracious and offered to, I'll
offer to lay a bet for you.
Yeah. Lay a bet, don't listen to cops, please. Cause I don't know if that's,
I think it's legal. Why would it be? I'm not charging you anything for it. I'm just, the kindness of my heart.
I guess like
legal gambling age.
Yeah, it'd probably be more on the taxes, but we're not high rollers.
Brother.
we're not laying stacks here.
Well, no, they tax you when you lose too, because oh boy.
True. Yeah, that was very presumptuous of me to assume it was going to hit. So I asked the bartender. I'm like, oh no, right? Is gambling, sports betting not legal here? And he's like, oh, no, they're actually, you're at the mercy of DraftKings. Okay. Minor inconvenience because DraftKings is the only sports book that I don't have on my phone. No big deal.
I gotta get it.
I text my dad, hey, you got a referral? I'm really thinking ahead. You got any referral bonuses? Let's do this right. He's like, hell yeah. So he sends it to me and I get on DraftKings and I'm pumped. I put $25 down in the account because I'm really just looking to just place a couple parlays, maybe place a couple straight bets. Just really see. Oh, actually, I was potentially going to bet. I think it was Michigan State, Oregon, and then I was going to go from there, right? Whether or not I won it, and maybe put some more money in. Well, I couldn't do that because while there's DraftKings, there is no sports betting in Oregon on college football at all.
At all? So not even on the state schools, like in Virginia, you can't bet on Virginia, Old Dominion, all that stuff at all. You can't do it.
Nope.
Wow.
So, college football. So if you go to Oregon and watch a game and you're talking about spreads and covering, which was the only thing I really could talk about by the end of that night, they're not going to have any fucking idea what you're talking about. Just so you know. So the trip didn't start off great. I will say that this is the only bad thing that happened, and truthfully, it's not a terrible thing. But it felt like we were teetering on disaster.
Yeah, that's
right out of the gate.
That's an inauspicious start. Yeah.
So pick up Dave, we drive down, and so we stayed at a place called Philomath. So it's about 5 miles west of Corvallis, and it's basically in between Corvallis and then the ocean side. So we get there late Thursday night, and Friday is the game, right? Friday is in Eugene, which is another about 55 minutes to an hour south. So not a terrible drive, mainly highway, just on
pretty close.
one
University
I-5.
of Oregon in Oregon State. That's very close.
Yes, and that's what makes a good rivalry too, right?
Yeah.
And especially in state is when they're super duper close. So
Yeah.
we wake up to break down what Philomath is. So Corvallis is a college town. I'll kind of get into that more once we get to Friday or Saturday. But Philomath is a logging town, and if you've ever watched Final Destination, you might not want to go to Philomath because the occasional car drives by, but every 5 minutes, a semi truck with huge logs is going in and out of this small ass town. It is terrifying, but also I've never seen that many like logs in my life. So
a lot of logs.
A lot of logs. Very cool. I sent you this picture. I made sure to get a biscuit. There was a little coffee shop. We wake up early Friday. I really wanted a picture of a real biscuit just for our biscuit posts, maybe some future some merch. And it did not disappoint. It was a big ass biscuit. Had some delicious Marionberry jam. I had to get the Marionberry as you're well aware, Mike, and it doesn't do it justice. What Dave has sent us, and we really appreciate it, Dave.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Dave.
It's fantastic, but getting it like fresh from the source, it was fantastic.
That's
Highly
awesome.
Recommend. And also, I don't know if I ever told you this about Marionberry, but it was a berry that was actually created. It's not a natural berry that was grown. So it was actually formed by a few different strands of blackberries. At Oregon State, actually.
They wow.
The creators of said berry.
Okay, they engineered their berries. Very cool.
They engineered it, and now they have it planted in places. So I think it grows a little bit more naturally now. But it was it was definitely an engineered berry, which I did not know until then.
I don't think I knew that either.
Yeah. So all right, Friday. We're at breakfast. We're heading down. Our internal clocks are off, so we're up early.
Mm-hmm.
And we were on a mission, and I'm like, you were aware of this. I feel like I teased it.
Mm-hmm.
But I did my research. I reached out to some people, and as you listeners should know, if you've listened to the Platypus Trophy, that the trophy is actually, it's not exchanged on the field with the teams. It is exchanged between the two schools' student alumni association.
Mm-hmm.
And Oregon happened to win the Platypus Trophy this year. So I was curious if they were going to have it on display anywhere, so that I could potentially just see it, even if it's in a glass case. I reached out. Right. Reached out. Susan, shout out Susan Ordonez. She got back to me.
Shout out Susan.
And she said, this is awesome. Like, super psyched that you are excited about this trophy. It is an awesome trophy. And she said it's just in our office in the Alumni Association building. And it usually is on like display in an art display, but they had something else going on. So she said, it's just hanging out in our office. Please, feel free to swing by during office hours, and you can come and see it. So naturally, we're going to be there on Friday. It was just the stars aligned. So we're getting into Eugene around 10 a.m. to make sure that there was no cutting out early, no long lunch breaks.
Yeah,
we really need to see this trophy.
Yeah, it's Friday. School's been going for about a month into the fall semester. The weather looked very nice. The games later on, so like good on you guys to get in at 10 a.m. when people are definitely still going to be there getting their work done, so that they can take that long lunch. Maybe not come back from lunch at all if it's a liquid lunch, and just get nice and juiced up for the game on Friday. That's smart.
Yeah. So wanted to make sure. So we get to this building. You have this big statue of Puddles. Puddles is the name of the duck, if you guys were curious. Puddles the duck outside. It's just a big like administrative building. Looks kind of like a lot of college buildings, and there's a little office inside, but it's like a key carded office. So I kind of like looked like an idiot in my Michigan State hat and my Michigan State shirt. Kind of like knocking on this door, and this kid comes up to the door and is kind of like he's wearing the jersey of the day, and he could have been a student. If he wasn't a student currently, he can't be too far removed from graduating, from being graduated. So he just kind of was like, "What do you need?" And because it was very much just like in that room, it was just administrative, like cubicles and things of that nature. Like I don't really think there's guests that go into that part of that particular office within the building. So just said, hey, I reached out to Susan Ordonez about seeing the platypus trophy, and she said that it was on display here, and he was like, oh, you're from the podcast. You're the podcast guy.
Look at that.
And I know. And I was like, I sure am the podcast guy. And he was like, oh, yeah. So she talked about it. And then there was like a girl behind a receptionist desk. And she's like, oh, yeah, I think you called me. Like, I'm the one that talked to you like last week. And I was like, yes. Thank you like for like letting us see this. Like, I'm so excited. And he's like, oh, okay. It's right there. It is just sitting on a filing cabinet, essentially, just right inside the door of this little office.
Oh,
it's just hanging out right there.
What? That is an institution in college football. Just I guess. I mean, I expected it to maybe be on like a velvet pillow. And she said it's usually an art display, but like, if there's something else I guess we just That's awesome.
Yep.
That's like having like the Holy Grail just sitting in your office,
Yeah, I took a step into this office and it was to my right about 2 feet. Just hanging out. Just greeting people. So we see it, and I could tell that like the kid was a bit nervous-ish, but I was just kind of like, oh, do you take some pictures? And he's like, oh yeah, of course, like no big deal, but he's being a little squirrely about it. Like we were gonna take off with it, which
you're wearing all Michigan State gear. Who is this guy? If I'm the one that loses the platypus trophy, that's right. I'm gonna
right. So it was it would start to take pictures with it, and then another guy came that definitely seemed a bit more in charge. His name was Andy. Shout out Andy.
Andy.
He was just kind of like confused at what was going on because clearly, I think most people in that office at that time of day are just working. So any guests, I think, kind of turned some heads, and we just.
It doesn't seem like they get many guests in general. So
no, not at all. Especially on a game day, I think they were really preparing some of the alumni tailgate stuff, and they were already doing work for the following week, which makes a ton of sense with Ohio State coming into town.
Oh, yeah.
And so we just talked to Andy, great guy, and telling him about, the podcast, why we're here, why I'm excited. Obviously, I'm a Spartans fan, so that definitely piqued his interest. Find out he's from the Little Apple, was a K-State grad. And,
no way!
Yeah, so he was talking about a big football fan. I could see that he was like wanting to get distracted by this, and he just looks at me and says, "You look pretty strong, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "You won't drop this, right?" And I was like, no." He's like, "All right, I'm also a photographer. Why don't we take some pictures out in front of the Oregon O if you guys want?" And I was like,
"No way."
Yes, I do. Very much so. So we went out to the little lobby area, which had, as if you guys
how
saw
heavy is
stories,
it? Hold on, I'm sorry. Just real quick before you continue with this.
Yeah.
How what I should have asked this question earlier, but how what is it like? Like how heavy is it? Like it looked in the picture you sent, like it really is decently girthy and like shiny as all get out.
That was so for the listeners. When I sent Mike the picture of this trophy, his immediate response was, "How smooth was that thing?" first thing out of not like that's awesome. Well, I mean, I think it was like exclamation points, and then it was like, how smooth is it? Yeah.
Why am I so obsessed with the smoothness of this platypus?
Yeah, it was. It was actually pretty heavy.
Yeah, it looked it.
So pleasantly surprised. It had some weight to it. It was very smooth, and you could not tell its head from its tail, which is something that we talked about during the podcast. But yeah, so this guy was talking about it. He wanted me to take it outside, but it was kind of, drizzling and foggy. So we were.
There was so much lacquer on that thing, though. That's water's going to go right off it.
Just like a duck, right?
Yeah.
Just like I'm sure like a platypus probably has very similar feathers and oils on it. But yeah, it was not going to get damaged. But yeah, so we took pictures in front of this big O, the Oregon logo O, and Dave got some pictures in, and we walked it back. I mean, this guy would have sat there and talked to us for hours, but he also was like, I kind of got to go here. So, because he's like literally working.
Yeah. What a great way to spend a Friday, though. It's like, oh God, yeah.
You could tell too. Like you could tell he liked football. You could tell he wanted a distraction, and then he was like, I actually have things to do. Like,
dude,
you could tell.
Lesson learned for next time, just like we should get a spare mic and like bring some equipment and just like, because like how great would it be to just like get him on the pod real quick and just like, quick, like a quick sip, not a quick sip post, but like a quick sip interview, just like go through. That's something. If we can together take one of these trips, that would be something we should do.
Absolutely. I mean, it was like I said, it was very fortunate that all the stars aligned with just like where the trophy's held. Because I've called before. I think I might have mentioned it before. Called about some of the Michigan State trophies, and it's kind of iffy where it's at when they have first they have to get possession of them again, but when they do have possession of them, it's not always clear when I were calling people on campus, whether it's the football facility, the athletic department, not everyone was super clear about it. So I think it was very fortunate that it was an alumni association, so it wasn't, currently buried in a locker room somewhere. We just happened to be there on a Friday. The game was on a Friday night. If it's a Saturday game, this doesn't happen unless we, purposely go a day early. So the stars just aligned, but I'm sure they were so surprised, like pleasantly surprised, because you could tell they were passionate about this trophy because they're the holders of it, the keepers of it. So it was you could tell that they were excited. Got to countless people telling these stories, showing these pictures, sharing into the pod. So if we get a bump in listenership out in Oregon and the Pacific Northwest, you'll know why, because we definitely literally texted people links of the pod.
Awesome,
so
awesome.
So hopefully that works.
Dude, shout out Eugene, just and the good folks at the alumni, Andy, Susan, just the young interns, the kid or young grad or whatever that thought he might have to chase you down. He's like, this guy's in his mid-30s. I think I got him if he's carrying the platypus. But yeah, man, that's awesome. It's really nice validation for like what we're doing, because like we talked about, like you never know how much people really care, and like it's just so cool that people like really care about these trophies, because they should. Like there's so much. If you like college football, you should love these trophies. That's oh man, that's awesome. That's so great. Like what a perfect experience it sounds like.
Yeah, it was great. And then leaving the alumni association, it's 10:45 maybe, like it's still early. Kickoff is until 6. What are we going to do? So Dave wanted to get some swag, so we walked across campus to get to the team store. It was a perfect Pacific Northwest day where it was foggy, kind of drizzling rain.
I feel like I'm there. Yeah.
One thing you don't ever see there, umbrellas. They just basically, you never know when it's going to rain, and you weren't gonna get quite too wet to be outside, so you don't even bother. That's how you know a local from someone visiting is an umbrella or not. So went there. There's a Sling and Wiener truck right outside of the team shop, and it's literally called Sling in Wiener, which made me laugh.
Awesome. So juvenile, but I love it.
I know. So he gets what he wanted. We decided we needed some lunch. So I was gonna have you do this, but I didn't double check. I should have you. I probably should have you do this because this was a funny part. So he really wanted to try this burger place, Dave, because this burger place is owned and ran by a famous alum that some of you might know named DeAnthony Thomas. So he was hoping, because he occasionally shows up to the locations, that you would be there. It's game day. I don't know. Worth a shot, right? So it's called Killer Burger, and so we go to Killer Burger. While I tell this, will you look on your phone specifically and Google Killer Burger downtown Eugene and tell me when it usually comes up, you have like the directions piece, or it has like the little thumbnail of like, it gets one thumbnail of a picture of the food. Tell me what you see. I don't know if this is going to work because I can't remember exactly where Dave pulled it up, but I want to see.
I just see a really nice burger.
Let me see. Put it up to the
big fries. Is that
okay? Thankfully they changed that. So when we pulled it up, there was a thumbnail of the most unappetizing burger. Like, it looked like the kind of burger that was gonna like keep you on the toilet for the rest of the night, and we could not. Oh yeah. And it was just like, it looked like a spicy...
No, that looks good. That's bacon blue cheese.
Okay, no, it was like it might have been on the Google Maps. Maybe it's on the Google Maps version when, sometimes when you type in, just broad, whatever you're looking for, and then it kind of shows up and it has the option for a website and then the directions if you want it, et cetera, et cetera. It was just the most to the point where like Dave was so excited to go to this place and then was like, I don't think we can go to this place because I don't want to be on the toilet for the rest of, the day.
Dude, all of these burgers look huge and they look delicious. They must have taken it down because my God, like, and their fries look huge too, like nice thick fries. Man, yeah, no, these all look good. Even their chicken sandwich looks really good. And like, it looks like a totally unfancy chicken patty. I mean, look at that. Look at that. That's just a chicken patty, but that looks delicious. Oh my God.
And spoiler alert, it was fantastic. So I'm glad that we stuck it through. It was really cool. So you had campus, and then you had this little like nice little downtown Eugene area, which was like very small town downtown, street parking type of deal. And it had a pretty famous donut shop called Voodoo Donuts, which I think is actually based out of Portland. But yeah, it ended up being really good. Had a really good like lunch deal. Again, it was a Friday, so it kind of lucked into that. Had like a lunch box deal. Burger was delicious. It just like, it was hilarious when whatever picture, I'll have to see if maybe he took a screenshot of it and I'll send it to you. But it was like, honestly, it looked disgusting. It looked like a microwaved with like a red aioli. It just looked like you were going to be shitting yourself for hours. So, dude, try Killer Burger.
We must be like karmically aligned, and that like you had to take all of the good karma and left me with nothing, because like Friday was like hell for me, and like you were just living the dream. Oh, God bless you, man. I'm so glad that you had such a good. I mean, I obviously we're at lunch on Friday, like. Yeah. Not even at the game. So, okay.
Vibes are high.
Continue. Yes. Vibes are immaculate.
So we have we had our burger, we had our donut, it's still a little bit early, but it's like, let's start heading over to the stadium because, we really don't know where we're going exactly. Dave had gone a couple times to Autzen, but it had been a long time, and he wasn't really thinking about the best ways to go and whatnot. So we start heading over, and once you start to get out of the little downtown and campus area to the stadium, it gets more commercial, strip mall, that kind of vibe to it. So we clearly pull up on an exit that's obviously the stadium. We're not moving anywhere. We can't even see the stadium. We're like on this bridge. So I'm in a pickup truck. So I'm like, there's no chance I'm snaking people in this thing, and it's a rental. So
that's every reason. You have superiority in height and size, and it's not your problem. So you should just yeet it, man. Yeet.
Well, we had time, so I maybe sat for 10 minutes, went about 10 feet, and I was like, all right, this isn't for me. So I get over, and we drive past that exit, but like I said, you couldn't tell because we were kind of on a bridge, so you couldn't tell what it looked like. And then it was, like I said, very evidently just commercial stuff, strip malls, and it was just like, shoot, there's not like parking. I was hoping there would just be some lots or something, and there was one, but I was too far over to get back to the right. So I'm like, no big deal. Let me just turn around, right? So I start driving, trying to get to like the next light that I can turn around in, but the GPS gives me another option, and it was like, okay, can we backdoor this shit? Like all of a sudden it's giving me like a right and a right and a right. And I'm like, okay, let's try it, right? It can't be worse than that.
Yeah.
Right. Can't be worse than that. So we pull up we do these rights, and we end up like about maybe a little over a half mile away. And it's just like what ended up being a college garden style apartment complex. And a girl in a Wrangler that has a sign in front that says parking, game day parking, $20. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I still can't see the stadium yet, but I know I'm only about, I don't know, maybe 0.7 miles away. Yeah, we can walk this. Cool. At first was like, am I getting scammed? Because it's clearly a college, like, apartment complex. But whatever, it's $20, it's cheap, and we pull in, kind of wait for a second, not really sure if this is legit, but there's a bar across the street called the O Bar. So I was like, well, why don't we just grab like a drink and see if this works out. Like, we can always just continue our drive to the stadium. End up working out. We were just fucking early, right?
Yeah.
And it ends up like, as we're at this bar and it has outdoor seating, we found the spot. It ended up being like I think it's called Campus Park. It's a legit thing. More and more people started pulling in, and it was like, okay, we were just super early.
Yeah.
It was perfect. So you have this like this little bar, which also is really sick if you lived in this complex, because not only do you have a bar, a liquor store right there, but you also are that close to the stadium.
Oh man, perfect.
So it's just vibes and luck are just
you took all my universe juice on Friday. Yep. Okay, got it. That's where it went. All right, good.
So we get in. I actually had a decent amount of
searching fucking high and low under couch cushions, everything, where my universe juice went, and you had it. So that's good. It went to a good cause. Yeah, but like you could have saved me a little. So
I did not know how much you were struggling. I got a little bit more details from my wife when I got back.
It's all good. It's all good.
So we pull in. We have a couple drinks. Meet some people. Was really friendly. Quite a few Spartans at this bar, which was pretty surprising.
Nice.
Overall.
Nice.
I'd say a couple hundred Spartans, not a ton. Not surprising because
a couple hundred.
I'd definitely say there was probably, I'd say close to like 200 out of.
Oh shit! So this bar was popping.
Oh, not at this particular bar. This bar, it was probably. I mean, in total, that I saw.
Okay, gotcha.
Gotcha. Yeah, a couple hundred Spartans. No, this bar though, if say there was 100 people, there's probably at least 30 Spartan fans. Like it was higher than you'd think.
Well, if there's anything I know about Midwesterners, punctuality is next to godliness. So you got to be early. You got to get your spot. And yeah, seems like people found some more spots.
Yeah.
And happened upon a lovely little oasis.
So it was a good spot. We sat. There was like an outdoors seating. We were just kind of standing next to a table, and this group of like 7 or 8 people were like, "Hey, can we have this table?" And they were super friendly. And something that I took away in general is like Oregon felt like the Midwest. Like there was not an unfriendly person that entire trip. Everyone was super nice. These people were like said thank you, like we like paid cover to sit at this table and was allowing them to sit there for free. It's just like, guys, like it's like a 10-person table, there's 2 of us, like, yes, please sit.
So Oregon is the Midwest of the Pacific.
Yeah. 1,000%. These people were so nice. Started to talk to them about the platypus trophy, showed them my picture. They were psyched, asked about the podcast. Ended up getting some valuable information, and it was what I had assumed just based on my conversations with Dave. But Oregon State is very friendly. It is. We will root for the other team when we're not playing each other. Oregon fans despise Huskies. Despise Washington. Yeah, that is where their hate is. I mean, there were plenty of people wearing both Oregon State, Oregon stuff. That was not uncommon. Plenty of, or there was a couple people we met that were Oregon State current students that were in Oregon visiting friends and going to the game, decked out in Duck stuff. Very cordial between those 2 fan bases. Hate the Huskies. So
that's gotta be super rare, right? Like I'm racking my brain right now.
Yeah.
Like I can't, like Alabama and Auburn certainly do not root for each other.
And now, mind you, this is from the perspective of of Oregon fans. Now, if I did not reach the topic with Oregon State fans,
it's a different, that's a different mindset.
It's similar to like Michigan, Ohio State. I imagine if you talk to enough Bama fans, while they probably hate Auburn, if you really talked about a rivalry, would they bring up Georgia right now? I don't know. Right?
No. With Alabama, it's we hate Auburn because we have to. We hate Tennessee because we want to.
Oh, that's right.
Or because we
Tennessee,
can.
Okay.
Because we can.
So maybe it's more of a Tennessee thing where it'd be like, especially now this season, Tennessee being.
God, don't remind me 2 weeks.
Right.
Now.
Both those.
I am already in a glass case of emotion. By the way, we'll just get out of the way and acknowledge it. I told EJ this. I texted him. I nothing that loss. That loss, the loss to Vandy felt like the Steelers losing a game. Like it was like a game that they shouldn't. It's like, well, that sucks. But with the 12-team playoff, you have plenty of chances. So, like, they had a mulligan. I think they still have a mulligan, especially with what happened this weekend to Tennessee and Mizzou and everything like that. So, and what happened to Ole Miss last week. So, I felt nothing for that loss. I think that the wider college football universe is having more fun with it than it's negatively impacting. Though a lot of like Legend got on the Feinbaum show and stuff like, or whatever he got on.
Oh yeah,
Bama fans I think in down south are melting down. Yeah. But if you have like half a brain, it's like this is fine, and this is probably what this team needed. Like lest we forget, some of the best Bama teams in history suffered not losses to Vandy, but like I remember the Ole Miss losses, and
I think that's where you buried in this, and I wasn't gonna pull it out. You had a hell of a weekend. Separate of this, I think it's the opponent that's yes, and the grand scheme of X's and O's and wins and losses. Of course, one loss is not going to sink them. It obviously shortens their margin of error by a lot, but
not with everything else that happened. I mean, it's the past 2 weeks, like it's still open. But yes, it does shorten it somewhat. But again, yes, the opponent, but. It's not like this is like just Vanderbilt. Like the first weekend we watched Vandy beat Virginia Tech, and we're like, this Pavia guy's pretty good, and this team's pretty good, and like they're gonna get someone. And turns out they got Bama. But I mean, they need to. I like literally I nothing it. Like it means nothing to me. Like you know, lost to another team in the SEC. Like you know, it is what it. Like yeah,
I would.
Vandy.
Okay. I'm not going to press. I'm not going to.
No,
press.
you can press. It's not going to get a rise out of me. Like yes, their first time they ever beat a top 5 team. You know, the first time
When's the last time they beat Alabama?
Vandy, I think Jimmy Carter was president.
And is this how many times have they beaten Alabama?
Like I don't know, barely any. Twice. There you go. I mean, but like it is what it is, man. I mean, I like literally with the 12 team playoff, like this team, I am so much drinking the Nick Saban Kool-Aid. Like the past 2 weeks on game day, he has talked about how like losses are good for a team because it gets people to refocus. And I think he started saying that right after Bama they end up the final score, they crushed them, but they eked it out against South Florida. And I think that he was sending a message to that team and being like, hey, it's actually better if you guys lose because when you win, you like your head's still up your ass. Now, hopefully, if these guys have any accountability, then they will get their heads out of their asses and focus and practice and do the things that they need to do to be successful. And if they don't, they don't. Then we lose the national championship or don't make it to the playoffs or whatever it is. But like if this team has any chance of being successful, I think it's probably a good thing that they got a loss. And it sucks. Now, honestly, though, if you ask me before this loss, would I rather lose to Vandy and beat Tennessee or beat Tennessee and lose to Vandy? Or no?
Yes.
Yeah, you get it, right?
Yeah.
If they beat Tennessee, we're back on track. If they lose to Tennessee, big problem. And I wish Tennessee would have beat Arkansas because like now they're in the same Tennessee's in the same position as we are, and that sucks. So it would have I feel like we would have had an advantage if we were facing a undefeated Tennessee team, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I nothing this loss. It is what it is. Yeah, it's Vandy, but again, I think everyone else who's not a Vandy fan is like a lot more, or not a Bama fan is a lot. Well, unless you're living in the state.
I would say if I'm yes, you can say they beat Virginia Tech fantastic until they beat another SEC school. Like I think this is no bueno. And if this was if we had been next year on our podcast, a few people would have been punished severely with our pick'em bets because of how high the spread was to outlose. It was 40 points scored against.
So that's the biggest thing is that like there's so many people that
after beating Georgia,
there's so many people
Georgia.
There's so many people that text me like, what the hell's Bama doing? I bet on them. I'm like, why did you bet on them? What are you doing? They just won the game of the century. Then they're looking at their rest of their October is SC, who the Gamecocks were hot until Ole Miss put them in their place. Then Tennessee, then who's at the end of the month? Is it LSU or it might be LSU?
Probably someone, yeah.
LSU or A&M or something like that. It's like this is if you can look past the game, this is the one that you look past, and the emotional letdown from last week. So like people were texting me like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, why did you bet this game? Had you asked me? Like, and none of these people reach out and ask me. If they would have reached out and asked me, I would have said stay away. I wouldn't have said to bet Vandy, but I would have said stay away.
Yeah, that's fine. Like not covering the 23 is 23 and a half, whatever. Yeah, it's 22 and a half. That's fine. Like, yes, I think that was exactly a spot to not cover. I think it's the outright loss. And it'll be interesting because for Alabama's sake, because everything you've said is not wrong, I hope people in charge are acting the way you are. Because if
I hope so
I,
too.
I could not even imagine. Like, I already know the overreaction, how terrible this was for people, how upset it's DeBoer. They're already on edge about him over Saban and all this stuff. Like, I
Well,
think this has potential to be devastating if people aren't just like, guys, we beat Georgia, right? we can win a couple of these other tough games, and you're not going to give a shit when it comes to January. But this also has the little guy having his little kicky pissy fit on the field.
no,
couple dudes wanting to officially transfer now, although that's probably going to happen regardless of the result of this game. But the optics don't look fantastic with it. It's like, yeah, hopefully he can reel this in. I assume SC's in Tuscaloosa too, right? Like that probably helps.
No, they go to Carolina.
They go to Columbia.
I mean, or no, they might be in Tuscaloosa. I can't remember. But yeah, they must go to Tuscaloosa because.
I'd imagine.
Anyways, no, I mean, listen, that's the problem with like society in general is we're a society of instant gratification, and like that's all I'm gonna step off my soapbox briefly, get on, step off, but like because we're an instant gratification society, like that, these are the types of things that happen. People are like, "Oh, I want to transfer," and Vandy's or Alabama shit because they lost to Vandy and everything. Like this means nothing. We're at the beginning of October. Like it means absolutely nothing. Some of the best teams that Alabama has had that have won national championships has lost at the beginning of October to a team that they shouldn't have. Yes, that team was not named Vanderbilt, but they still lost, and then they came back and did something strong. So,
yeah, I think it helps and also the Georgia win too. Like if this was after a Georgia loss, it would be like I don't know that DeBoer would have made it to today.
That's like guys, like let's like remember here that like number one, Nick Saban's no longer the coach. DeBoer's here, and like it is a transitional year. Yeah. In that no matter how much talent they brought back, but then also the point that like this offense is playing out of their gourd, but they're also like very young, and defense is super young, and all new coordinators and all new coaching staff, and like, I mean, either like let's be honest, like either they respond and then they go to the playoff, which I think this year, like playoff is them getting to the playoff and winning their first game is like the bar, right? If they don't do that, they've failed in quotations. If they do that, if they get to the playoff and win one game, that's a big success for this season. If they don't make the playoff or get to the playoff and like get bounced immediately, it's a failure in quotes, but like also they don't. This isn't by far not the most talented team they've had. A lot of young guys that will only continue to get better. Like all their playmakers on not all, but majority of their playmakers on defense are all freshmen. So it's like this just isn't as good of a team as we've had in the past. And I do think that it's not the end. Like there is better days ahead for Alabama, even beyond this season, no matter what happens. But like guys, let's have some perspective here. So, anyways,
that was a shocker. I was told I didn't really have great service in Reeser, and that's where oh my gosh, we have so much to cover. Sorry, I'm just realizing I'm thinking about all the stuff. I brought it up. No, and we needed to talk about it. How do we not have the Alabama fan talk about the first loss against Vandy and like since Jimmy Carter was
and the first, I forget what I said to get us here, but I got us tangential to the subject, so I felt the need to address it. So
okay.
Anyways, people, Oregon,
we're onward now. We're onward to the stadium. So
Oregon is the Midwest of the Pacific. They're lovely people. Shout out Susan. Shout out Andy. The platypus is super smooth. Go to the O Bar. Go to Killer Burger. Just slinging wieners. We're on to the stadium.
We're on to the stadium. So one thing that I had planned to do, and I'm glad I did it, was I decided to wear my Penei Sewell Lions jersey as an olive branch to to fans to show
Very
them
noble of
that
you.
like I have no ill will towards Oregon. I'm very aware of how what the spread is today, and you know my expectations were set accordingly. That was not the reason for this trip. It was to go to Autzen and experience all these cool traditions and just to see you know a college football game in one of the best places to watch one. So one of the things that Dave wanted to bet me was how many people were going to comment on the Sewell jersey in really positive or negatively. Didn't get one negative negative comment towards it.
You can set the line at 1, and I would have taken the under.
It was at 10.
Oh, I would take. Oh.
And I blew that out of the water, including what I sent you the pictures of today, which probably would have counted for 50 anyway, based on who it was. But yeah, that got hit before kickoff, I think. But I will say though,
tell the people what it was. You didn't tell the people what the pictures were of.
Oh, because I'm not there yet.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So yeah, so again, I'm wearing a Spartans hat, but it's actually hard to tell because it's green, even though it's not their green. A lot of people took them a second, even though I'm wearing a Lions jersey, and it took them a second to realize I was not a Ducks fan in some cases. But I wore it as a olive branch to Oregon fans. What I was not expecting was every Michigan State fan to be like, fuck yeah, Lions, let's go. Everyone was like, I should have worn my goddamn Lions jersey. And it's a Panay jersey, which, obviously Detroiters love Panay. Oregon Ducks, we're going to walk hand in hand as he goes to Canton together as fan bases.
Hell yeah.
All the Lions fans. There were so many Lions. There were so many people in Ducks apparel that were Lions fans.
Really?
Shout out One Pride. It's strong, man. This is a Saturday. Lions weren't even playing, and people were fucking psyched talking about the games they were going to this year. Yeah, it was more of a conversation piece to Spartans fans than it was to Ducks fans. Although I did get some nods, like, good jersey, I'll allow it. Type
yeah, dude, that is good for you. Like, the vibes are immaculate now.
Yeah. So it's great. We get to the stadium. It's a potato chip. That's what it is. The great potato chip, because of the waves on how the concourse is. One thing that stood out to me, if you're looking for a college football stadium with like amenities and big concourses, great food, this isn't for you. This screams clearly built before Phil Knight and not touched after Phil Knight. The concourse literally goes up, like they didn't cut through it. You know what I mean? Like how most concourses are completely level, and even if they're on hills, they figure it out. Nah, this is like you're walking up to the concourse. Like, it is the most unfrivolous stadium I've ever been to. Beyond the fact that it's bleacher seats, and like, can we just say that's the worst part of college football is bleacher seats, because they're never wide enough for anyone that's not like a 10-year-old. Thankfully the crowd was great, and they stood the entire time, for Michigan State, which I can't imagine what it's going to look like next week.
The Buckeyes.
But that was thankful, because I couldn't sit. We couldn't sit down. But it was packed. We had row 14, so we were way fucking closer than I thought we'd be.
You're down there, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think it started at 14. If I had to guess, it started at like 8. So we're there. Walking up and down the steps sucked because it's so steep, and there was like 60 rows. So I had to really maintain like my bladder the best I could. But we get down. One of the coolest things, like pregame, was they have this, and I saw the guy. I guess I didn't realize it, and I probably should, because I think it's probably a thing if you've ever watched any Oregon game, or I guess if you've played Oregon and NCAA, is they have a guy on a motorcycle that has like a decked out helmet and motorcycle that looks like the Oregon gear and get up, and he drives puddles into the game on the field. That's it. I guess I didn't realize that, and I'd seen
Oh,
him earlier in the day, so that was like a pleasant surprise for me. Like I had no idea that was coming.
yeah. Oh, yeah. That's. I mean, I just played Oregon somewhat recently, so yeah. It is a awesome. I can't imagine seeing it in person though.
So it was sick. You got everyone lined up. He rums in, fucking on the turf and doesn't really spin out or anything, but it was a pretty cool, unique entrance.
Did you mention your interaction with Puddles? Because we're past that.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You're right. No. All right. So as I'm in the parking lot, so we were kind of just taking pictures out in front of the stadium. We didn't really have like a set plan. We didn't really have any like road beer. So we're just kind of trying to see like if we can just find some friendly faces.
Can we bum a beer?
People.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we found some
Give us
Spartans
beer,
fans, and they started talking to me. A couple of them were from East Lansing, visiting friends that had recently moved out to Oregon, but I think they were all grads from Michigan State. And that's when Puddles drives by in like a Gator four-wheeler type golf cart thing, and he like stops. Like I didn't really catch it, but I guess they had stopped driving, and he stopped and looked, and the
Puddles is standing just for the people too.
Yeah.
Puddles is standing in the back of the Gator,
Yeah.
so Puddles must have on the top of it and ordered them to stop.
Yeah. So I turn around, realizing he's looking at me, and he kind of gives like a puzzled look, like, "What are you doing? Like both these teams are green.
What the duck is going on?
Right. Well, why are you in blue?" And I
Who
turn
is
around,
this ducking guy?
and I show him the Sewell, and then it kind of clicked to them, and he was like, "Oh, okay," and gave like a little clap
Duck clap.
as he went. Yeah.
This ducking guy.
This guy. So that
This
was
ducking guy.
that put me over the edge, right? So I was really on the cusp of hitting 10. I knew I was going to hit 10. And they were gonna like they were gonna make me count all of the including the Spartan. I think I had already 10 Spartan fans be like, "Hell yeah, Lions!"
Yeah.
But that put it over. Like if Puddles says,
if Puddles acknowledges our tribal chief Penne Sewell, so.
Yeah. So, so Puddles have some cool pictures. I'll make sure I'll post them of his reaction to me in my jersey, which was pretty funny. So we get to the game. It's game time. We made a biscuit bet, right? So if you guys are following, it was 23.5, and I was sick about it all week long, trying to figure out which side my for the longest time my gut was on the Ducks, and just because I knew having to play after playing Ohio State, short week going across the coast, it doesn't bode well, right? To cover.
Bad matchup too, just based on personnel and what you guys do well, what they do well,
Yeah, and the Spartans defense did exactly what it needed to do, with some sick red zone end zone interceptions. Actually, one was right in front of us, and Dave happened to be recording because he thought it was going to be a touchdown. So have some sick video and a picture of that because it was right in front of us in our end zone. Because our seats were probably at like the goal line, essentially, on the field. So Spartans go down the field, fumble on the one. Like as soon as that happened, I said, "This is why," because this is what happened against Ohio State. They drove the ball fine, but kept turning the ball over. And come halftime, I'm just like, this isn't going to happen for me.
Yeah.
So let's just get over it. Enjoy the game. Obviously, I was loving it. One thing that I noticed that really surprised me was the lack of band. Like they had a band.
Oh,
like the band is such a big thing in college
Yeah.
football, where like they're the ones on third down, kind of playing the music and things like that. It just was non-existent for them. It was weird. Which was different. The next day, the band was not the case. So very unique. Obviously, they had music, but it felt more of like a professional stadium intermissions and interludes than more college, which is kind of surprising to me. But you had the I knew what was coming. I didn't know it was the end of the third quarter, which makes sense because I think a lot of the traditions that do something like this do it, but they sing shout. I got a great video of that. I will tell you, Buffalo Bills fans, you would be sick to your stomach because they do not do it quite the justice you guys do. Sorry, Ducks fans.
There's a lot of things. Hey, listen, there's a lot of things the Buffalo Bills fans do better than any other fan base in the nation.
Yeah.
So take it with a grain of salt to the good people of Eugene. Yeah, that is.
They have some things to learn. I think they could really bring it up a notch if they watch some Bills Mafia in Buffalo videos. But yeah, they do shout, which was pretty cool. Just to have a whole stadium never, experience like jump around or Enter Sandman at some of these other ones. So it's pretty cool to see, 55,000 strong. Right. Yeah. Just going crazy. So that was really cool. And then come the fourth quarter, it was like, hang on. Spartans might have a chance. We had a garbage time touchdown, and it was like, okay, I was telling Dave the entire time, like, we have to get to 10. Really, if we get to 14, we'll be okay. Get to 7, and it was like, okay, there's like 8 minutes left. Like, can we get a stop here? Thankfully, the Ducks brought in Dante Moore and all the backups because there was no reason to get anyone injured ahead of the Ohio State game. Gabriel got fucking rocked earlier in the game. Clean hit. It was awesome. Clean in the chest. I think it just knocked the wind out of him, but he was down for a while, which obviously made people super nervous. But it was like, okay, is this going to happen? Can we get a stop here? Spartans get the ball back with 4 minutes left. It's what did the game finish? It was 30 to. It must have been 33 then. So it's 33-7.
I thought it was 30. Okay, 34. I thought, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it's 33 to 7, and it was like, okay, they get a field goal here. We've got a chance. But then you're thinking to yourself, well, it's why the fuck would they kick a field goal, right? Like, it's either they're going to score a touchdown or they're not. But they're going to try. So they were like, okay, let's do this, right? With the backups on Oregon go 3 and out pretty easily, punt the ball down, and they have 80 yards to go.
It was 31, but yeah.
31. Okay. So it was like, okay, let's if they just need 3. But 7's probably the most likely instance because they're probably not going to kick a
field goal, yeah.
Right? Aiden Childs doesn't come out. Tommy fucking Schuster comes out, and I'm like, we are dead in the fucking water. I can't believe this. I got my hopes up when Childs brought them down the field to get this touchdown, and you could tell, like, Dave and I are like the most into this game the most that we've been the entire time. We're intense. Everyone else is covering out. Like, yeah. But they don't understand because they can't bet on college football.
Yeah,
they have no idea what the spread is. I look like a fucking lunatic, right? But Schuster goes down the field. He's throwing passes. He literally rolls to his right on the third down, doesn't throw a wide open pass, doubles back, does like this crazy, like, remember the Titans fucking reverse, and gets the first down after running 20 yards. And it's like, this could fucking happen. But the Spartans are in no goddamn hurry. They're not using timeouts. They're just huddling every time. And it gets to the point where they're like on the 30-yard line, 20 seconds left. And it's like, fuck me. Like, are they really just going to like let this run out?
Yeah.
And you know what? Jonathan Smith, thank you, son. Thank you. Because this was a complete and utter just, hey, Spartans fans, we know this game didn't turn out like we wanted. It was a disappointment. But if you bet on us,
we're going to cover.
Fucking back.
We're going to cover.
And he brings out our kicker who can kick from 55, 60, and he just fucking drills it with 24 seconds left. And it's like, just, I couldn't believe it. I am jumping up and down like we just won the game again. People are like, dude, what is going on? It was insane. Then it was like, hold my breath, just kick it out of the back of the end zone. Don't even let a return happen because they're just going to take a knee, right? Oh my God. It was the best backdoor cover, the most improbable way, best backdoor cover. It was incredible. And that was just the cherry on top of my night in Eugene.
I love it. Are we on to Corvallis? Because I would like to recommend a quick pause for station identification. If we're on to Corvallis after this.
Yes, the only other thing I would say is what a time to be alive for a college student, especially in a state like Oregon. Kids just ripping weed pens in the stadium. Like, you don't even got to fucking worry about it. These guys are not even, you're not even supposed to smoke or vape. They have signs. This kid's not even getting out of his seat, ripping weed, just dragging this fucking pen. What a time, to do stuff like that when we were kids. You could barely even drink at state. Like, what a time. What a time.
That is not where I expected that to go.
So yes. Now I am complete. Then we go home. It's late. Had to drive an hour back to Corvallis.
All right, we will pause real quick and be right back. All right, we are back. We are back. Thank you, folks. My bladder, I swear, gets tinier and tinier the older and older I get. It doesn't help that I'm 1.5 nibble giants deep, and I ate asparagus for dinner. So there's that. Makes you pee. Is what it is. Anyways,
thanks for letting us know you're going to pause this time. It was
last time
improvement from last week.
Yeah, we're probably gonna have one more pause in here after the Corvallis breakdown too, before we get to the actual trophy. But
yeah, that actually works out perfect because the battery on my computer is going to probably die. We'll be able to get through Corvallis, then I'll have to come inside, and if my voice gets a lot quieter, currently I'm outside because where I usually am in the dungeon was not getting very good service, so I'm going to have to come inside and everyone's going to be sleeping, so it's just going to get a little softer for the trophy.
When's your house gonna be done, pal?
Well, actually the guy's going to call me tomorrow to schedule the closing, but looking like he said the 31st, but I'm hoping to get in a week earlier because we have Jackie coming to town for the Giants game. So
Jackie, that's the definition of trick or treat. Well, we'll come see you guys, though. I think we're fully booked up in October, but I'll make time for that. Let me see what we got going on. Anyways.
All right, Corvallis. So now we're on to Saturday. So yeah, Saturday we wake up. The game's at 3:30. But we're literally 4 miles away. So it was a great feeling. We knew we could sleep in a little bit. We were pretty tired from the Thursday night. Obviously, Friday night we settled in, and what did we end up putting on? Shoot, I can't remember what we watched.
Snatch.
No, we did not watch.
That was a test. I want to make sure you're saving that for us. That's you and me, baby. Any Guy Ritchie movies you watch with another man, we are through.
No, we watched. What did we put on Sling TV? I don't know what we ended up watching, but regardless, clearly we fell asleep pretty quick. Didn't really watch too much, but it was Oh yeah, I forgot. All right, I already went back Thursday. What also had some bad vibes. I forgot. I got pulled over.
Ooh,
yeah.
that's
Thankfully,
bad vibes.
Super nice. I forgot my contacts case, or I thought I did. I actually didn't. So we were trying to race to a Safeway before it closed. No one's around in this little logging town beside this one cop, so he didn't appreciate me going 45 and a 25 and rolling a stop sign. But once he realized I was not drunk and my rationale, he was like, all right, you're cool.
Nice. What a guy.
Yeah, nice. He could have it was 25 over. I ran like he could have been a dick about it, and and made me like have a arrest warrant because I was not going to pay any fine for a traffic violation in Oregon. So that just wouldn't have been allowed back in the States, so it would have been fine. But yeah, so we're on to Saturday. Vibes are high again. Get another biscuit. Get some more coffee from this place, which was cool. So we didn't have as much like wanted to do. I just needed to get to the team store to get all of this swag that you saw, but it was pretty much attached to like the stadium, so no problems there. But Mike, something that didn't occur to me until right before the trip, talking to Dave. No idea. And I'm going to go out and venture that everyone that's not from Oregon specifically probably don't know this. Even like your diehard college fans that even know that it's called Reser Stadium. Do you know what Reser is, the brand? It's a brand. I thought it was a person. I mean, it technically is a person. Do you know what Reser is?
I do. Oh God, I actually do know this, but I
I have
don't right now. Yeah, go.
no clue. Well, it's Reeser Fine Foods.
Yeah, I figured it was I knew it was a food thing. But like, what they specialize in something?
They sure do.
They specialize in sweets. No, I'm just thinking
No,
Reese's there. No,
no.
they do specialize in something though.
Well, back in the 1950s, it is Earl and oh my god, I had her. I think it's Mildred. I
Of
didn't
course
pull
it
it up.
is.
I had a Wikipedia. I don't know, Mike, if you want to fact check me. Pretty sure it's Mildred and Earl. They were from Cornelius, Oregon, I believe. And they made potato salad. That's what they're known for.
No
So the
shit.
good
Deli
old
salads.
Reesers made potato salad, and they made it in the 1950s. They made it
Macaroni
out
and
of
cheese, coleslaw, deviled egg potato salad.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so we tried them all. Dave bought them at Safeway when I got my contact solutions at about a bite of each. It's exactly what you'd get for barbecues. Um, but yeah, because then what Dave so affectionately
Holy smokes.
dubbed Reeser Stadium is the Potato Salad Palace, and I will never ever be able to think of it in any other way now.
The potato salad palace.
Yeah,
Hold on. I'm sharing my screen here. Uh look at this. Like that's like a tub of ice cream.
yeah,
Like it's just potato salad.
yeah. It's just potato salad.
I
Just
mean,
potato salad, man.
I guess they're wearing Reeser colors, like with the red and the yellow there. But like, buddy, if you're based in Eugene, there's not one team that wears this color way. Incredible.
So so this was started. That's where they were really successful. Oh, okay, I'll give. This is the other, and I. This was just like it's not going to sound as good. It had to be like in the moment. And Dave, you're going to laugh at this again. I couldn't believe it. So I'm reading this right. So he's telling me, and then I'm like pulling this up about trying to find out more. So I wanted to find out more so I can talk about it today about the history of Reeser Foods and essentially
that's the
they
quality content we bring to you, folks. Is the story behind potato salad?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm sitting here and it's 1950s. They're so successful, but in 1951, and mind you, it's probably just like they always made it for like their church potlucks. And someone was like, hey, why don't you make it for Benny the Butcher? And that's what they did. So they would make their potato salad for the local butcher, and then they made it for the local grocer. And by 1 year later, 1951, Safeway was like, hey, do you want to make it for like the rest of the state? And they're like, sure do. And that's how Reeser Fine Foods starts. And so
a lot of potato salad. I love potato salad too. I would be very curious for me to have tried. I'm a big redskin potato salad guy. Well, okay. Mass produced redskin potato salad is my favorite, but like there's nothing that beat actually Kara's grandma, the Greek one. Or she's German. She married a Greek, but on her Greek side, she makes this Greek potato salad. Which, if you know Greek potato salad, it's like red onions, vinegar based instead of like mayo based, and it's like so good. Oh, I love potato salad. I wish I had some potato salad right now. I'm starting to get a little.
Then you would have been all about it. I took like one bite of the macaroni salad on Thursday night and was like,
"Oh no, macaroni salad! I don't go for it. Macaroni salad."
He literally bought 6 tubs of.
I could have eaten that
eggs. It was the red skin potato. Ooh. It was all of it.
I could have eaten that ice cream sized potato salad thing especially after a couple beers.
So I'm doing this research and mind you guys, the Wikipedia page is, only like maybe 2 total paragraphs.
We need someone to tell the story of the Reese's potato salad.
Yes, and I'm reading it out loud, and it's Earl, it's Mildred, it's John Reeser, who is what the stadium that's their son, who I think really turned it into the big company that it is today. And I honestly I was so taken aback at the next point that I can't believe is there. because it doesn't fit. It's completely unnecessary. But I did see his name in the stadium, so I assume that he must have been an Oregon State grad, if I had to guess, and that's why they named the stadium. Obviously, he donated money for the stadium, regardless. But I think he recently passed away. But the next thing on the line, so you're talking about Mildred, you're talking about Earl, you're talking about Safeway, you're talking about I think it's John, and then it's just a little footnote. Oh, by the way, the Earl and Mildred's grandson died of fentanyl overdose. What? We're in the bio section of Wikipedia talking about resurfine foods, and you're telling this incredible story about all of this, and then someone decided just to let you know that in 2019, the grandson died of fentanyl.
Well, the fentanyl epidemic is, something that we should all spend really more time of our daily lives thinking about. But what in the hell is going on there on Wikipedia?
This Wikipedia page has maybe like 9 sentences total, and someone felt it necessary. Now, we're not talking about like this like billionaire playboy XYZ. I mean, this is the potato salad prince, and it just happens. He's not even the potato salad prince. If he was, it would make sense. No. So I could not believe that. I had an audible like, what the fuck, as I'm reading this out loud.
7 out of every 10 people know someone affected by fentanyl.
Yeah. Well, now we all know one.
Earl and
Mildred.
Right, that might be fake news. Community notes me, but I'm feeling pretty good. I'm 2 Nimble Giants deep. I just poured my third, so we're having a time here on a Tuesday night.
So we pull up to the house that Coleslaw made, and and I know the jokes just write themselves. I love it. The stadium. So this is a completely different.
Is there? Hold on.
Yes.
Hold on. Is there a grittier food than potato salad and coleslaw, like side salads to be named after for a football stadium to be built on? Because
I know.
I mean, you could, I think that the lazy thing to do would be choose something like ribs or like a porterhouse steak or something like that. Yep. But I think that that's way too lazy. I think that that's not like a working man's type of thing. Certainly the working man eats ribs and he eats his beef steaks, everything like that. But like what really defines the working man and blue collar is their love. And I'm not being disparaging here because, as mentioned, I love my potato salad. The love for salad, which is by most normal definitions, really think of it as a leafy green healthy food. But no, we're not interested in those types of salads. We want the salads that are made of starches and mayo.
Yeah.
So like I cannot for the life of me right now think of a grittier food to build your football stadium around.
Yeah.
You got anything?
No, I mean, it's such, like you said, it's like a working class. It's that offensive lineman that it never gets appreciated. They're everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. And they're a key at every barbecue, and a good one you fucking know, right? And then when you don't have one, it's just you can tell it's missing. Like it's just so solid.
The only thing I can think of is that if like the Steelers, if like Isley's Chip Chopped Ham got the naming rights to Steelers Stadium, like that would be it. But that'll never happen.
No.
Well, actually, that'd be pretty sweet. I'd never say never.
That's honestly probably my favorite Pittsburgh food. Like Pittsburgh specials.
What? Isley's Chip Chopped Ham is your favorite?
Love it. Like out of all the Yinzer things, that's it for me, man. I could have ham barbecue every day.
I gotta take you more places. I mean, yes, I do love a good ham barbecue, but like
I'm just saying, like if you're thinking about like things that are known conies in places and your permanis and things that are
that's
like
the thing. Permanis is better.
It's chipped ham, man. It's so low key.
Awesome. I mean, that's super gritty of you. I'll hand it to you for that. But like, oh my god, like I mean, there's just so
gobs, right? Like it's just
gosh.
Man. I know that's one of your favorites, but
and
they're all great. Don't get me wrong. They're all great, but I'm just saying, like, of all the things you would never think an outsider would like fall in love with, right? Like it's ingrained in you. It's hot sausage, like that's another classic thing. That's a Pittsburgh thing.
Oh yeah.
But chipped ham is don't sleep on the chipped ham, man.
Oh man, my mom's coming over on Thursday. I should see if she can make some hot sausage and bring it. Oh God.
Okay, so I'm approaching the potato salad
Yes.
house, and we one I will just say, like, overall, Eugene was nice. The people were fantastic, and Autzen was amazing. But Corvallis and Research Stadium are so much more my speed. So where Eugene
You love chip chopped ham, so that makes so much sense.
it's just like where Eugene felt a lot like Portland, and where it wasn't as far as Portland goes when it comes to just like what you'd expect out of a progressive city, a progressive state. It just, you had like a lot of granola eating, just Patagonia hipster vibe in Eugene, and it was fine. Like I said, everyone was super friendly. It was awesome. Corvallis is such just working class. It reminded me of like home. It was like everyone at the stadium decked in like either Oregon State stuff, flannel stuff. Like it was a completely different set of people, completely different, just type of town, and it was definitely more my speed. And Research Stadium had like it felt a little bit, and this is gonna something that Dave said that kind of stuck out to me too, is like you got the feeling that this was a Mountain West like school with Pac-12 money. Right.
Yeah.
Like that's the best way to describe it. So it felt a lot more local. They had like some food truck alley outside, which was really sick, and they had a screen, so we just posted up and watched Ole Miss in South Carolina while drinking and eating out of the food truck. Like it was awesome.
Oh my God,
that's
tables. Awesome.
That's what we did before we walked in, maybe an hour before the game started. So we're just hanging out there. It was so cool. But Research Stadium, while Autzen was so oversized high school, but very loud, very intense, but like just again, like nothing like frivolous or just or
which is crazy because like they have so much night, like they're where the players work, like they have like like the water treadmills, they're like treadmills submerged in water and like everything like crazy. You'd think they dump some money into the stadium itself, but I guess maybe that's them trying to be a little bit more grounded and down to earth, but like
it just not touching the cathedral, right? Like it was just that actually was like the stadium was like gritty in that sense, where it's just like you're not there to like sit in a box and this or that. Like you're there to watch football, and that you're there to just be a diehard Ducks fan, watch football. Research Stadium had much more of a professional football stadium feel to it, where it was probably 80% actual seats. And 20%.
Wow.
Because it's brand new, guy. Like they just remodeled it, and they did a beautiful job. It had a concourse with some really nice food in there, and there wasn't a bad I mean, there was some upper level seating, but like obviously it's a much smaller stadium. It's probably closer to, like, if I had to guess, maybe 30,000 people, 25,000 people, but for what they are, it was perfect, and they did such a good job. It was so much more comfortable. Dave and I had front row seats because it's Oregon State and Colorado State, so it wasn't a huge matchup. So we got spent a little bit and got down front row in the end zone, which was pretty cool. Not like a side of the end zone.
The corner, which is the best place to be. You don't want to be directly facing the goalposts. Yeah, you want to be in the side there.
So the stadium itself was just really cool. The people, again, were just like super nice, and I'm decked out, and people love the Bainbridge hat, and
Bartbridge. Birdbridge. Shout out Bartbridge.
Bartbridge. Yeah. Bainbridge is an actual bridge. I keep doing that.
Bainbridge was my 9th grade history teacher who said, "Those that fail to learn the lessons of history will repeat them next year in this class. He also spent the last week showing us Rudy,
Oh,
'cause he's a big Irish fan. So
nice.
yeah, we got up and I say people in the class got up and slow clapped, but I won't stand that idiot and those the people that worship him. Anyways,
So
I'm
that's the
more
thing,
on Joe
but
Montana's side of the
so
story. But anyways,
I talked about the Bart Bridge hat, and a couple of the people were like, I felt more like a local there because I had, before I got this beautiful pullover, I had like a Carhartt shirt on and had this
hell yeah, you
Corvallis
did.
hat was unique. So one guy, I was like, oh yeah, it's a pretty cool hat, and he's like, yeah, I really like it. And I was like, yeah, it's known because this patch is a pocket. You can keep like your license, your credit card. And he's like, or a joint. And I was like, okay, starting to get the speed of people here in Oregon, and this was like a
He
middle
didn't like jack your hat. Like, yeah, I keep my license in here, my credit card, I keep my social security card in here.
Right,
It's
right.
great. I got everything. If I lose this hat, you could basically steal my identity.
Uh, so it was great. The stadium was nice. So the game itself was electric. It was a double overtime game, back and forth. The game ended in our end zone, even though the first overtime was at the other end, which sucked. But I didn't realize they switched the sides of the field for
Oh
the
yeah.
second overtime.
Oh yeah.
So they came down to our end, and that's where it ended. People started to rush the field. We let the first wave go because I wasn't about to get in trouble. Although the person in front of, like, the security lady was just like, "Please don't, no, please stop." But it was a decent drop. It was probably like I don't know, 8-foot drop.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And Dave and I,
nothing to
once we
sneeze at.
felt like we weren't gonna have our second encounter with the law, we hopped on down and got some really cool videos and pictures on the field of Research Stadium, which was pretty awesome.
That is dope as hell. I mean, I know she said, like, yeah, Colorado State, you can get like cheaper tickets, but like Colorado State's pretty good. Like that. I think that outcome wasn't like super surprising, especially given the emotion of previous games that they had. So, yeah.
So, and one last parting thought here before we transition into the trophy. This was something that Dave texted me on Sunday. Okay, here's the other thing. So this would kind of like stunk. So my flight, I was planning on, we were going to have early flights on Sunday, which was fine. What I didn't realize, thankfully, until I checked in to Southwest, was my flight had gotten bumped up earlier. So I
What?
had a 6, it was supposed to be a 7:30 flight that got moved up to departing at 6:30 in the morning. So which
What?
means we were an hour 45, if you remember, away from Portland. So, and we didn't get back to the Airbnb in Philomath, even though, because basically all the roads that were going back towards Philomath, they had one way going to the highway, the opposite direction. So it took us even though it was only 4 miles, it took us a while to loop around. Then we got some food. But I did not end up getting back to like 9, and basically had to go to bed by 10 to wake up at 2 a.m. to be able to make sure that we had enough time to get like the rental car gassed and to where it needs to be for me to get in. Thankfully, we left that early because it was the longest TSA line I've ever been. It took me probably
Don't you
like
have
40
free
minutes.
or clear?
No, because I don't travel that much to pay for it.
I mean, just come on, dude. Like you're just.
I fly like once, or maybe now that I'm remote and I go in a little bit more often. But like before, it was like,
it's
really
worth it. $200 is 1,000. I don't fly out of Reagan enough, but like it was so worth it at Dulles. You just because even Dulles, the TSA pre-lines, it's like 15 minutes. You're staying in that line, which is like crazy.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I see, but I don't mind that. This was definitely long, and it was so fucking early. I couldn't believe how many flights were leaving that goddamn early. But the problem was,
well, it's because you're on the West Coast, and like there's flights that leave. Yeah, man. Oh, dude.
So the big thing was like, so it sunk because I ended up not getting any sleep because I was nervous I was gonna sleep through my alarm. So I got like 1 hour sleep to drive. But where was I? Oh, okay. So the other thing that happened, so that's why I said going through Sunday. So the problem was not only that my flight got in early, which means I got into Chicago Midway. I was supposed to have like a 3 hour layover in
Midway's better than
Chicago
O'Hare.
Midway, yeah, which was fine, and I was happy to because it's Sunday and I have Sunday ticket, so I was like, no big deal. I'll watch a little bit of football. The problem was my other flight got pushed from 4:50 to 6:30 at night,
Yikes.
and then, as you know, there was severe storms in Pittsburgh
Yeah.
Sunday night, so I didn't end up departing till 7:50. So I was in the airport
Yikes.
from. So I had gotten up at 2 a.m. Pacific time, landed at noon Central time, and then didn't leave Chicago until 7:40 Central time, and didn't get home until 11:40, I think. After the flight and the Airbnb or the Uber from fucking Pittsburgh
Oh God, you
airport.
Ubered?
Yeah, and well, that was the problem.
Oh.
Was like because we only have the one
Oh.
car, and my in-laws have their other car. They were on
Oh.
vacation, and then I got in so late that no one could come and pick me up. It was yeah, it sucked.
Oh.
But what I wanted to say, and this kind of felt like this, Dave had this like what am I? What's the word I'm looking for? Just I thought, for lack of better terms. The next day, and while I don't know that I go as far as he does with it, I do think I do agree with him partially. So he said he couldn't when he was at Reeser, he couldn't idea vibe until Sunday, and it was apathy and melancholy. And mind you, the weather was
Wow.
fantastic. I couldn't believe how great the weather was. And I did get to experience some of the pissy rain, fog, but then by game time in Eugene and then all day in Corvallis, it was absolutely beautiful. But it was because the game against Colorado State, it shouldn't have been Colorado State. It should have been against Washington or UCLA or USC. That game should have been what it had been in years past, a place where other teams' hopes die. Right, like I should have been seeing,
Yeah.
Miller and Josiah Branch lose, like definitively get knocked out of Pac-12 contention.
Yeah.
Right,
Imagine if the Calgorithm showed up in Corvallis. Yeah.
hot off of it, or it could have been last year, like watching Penix and that squad sweat it out in Corvallis. Like that's what that place has just been known for, not only having such a good football team in Jonathan Smith's era, but it was a place, and we talk about on the pod similar to Pullman, that like that was the game you circled and went, someone's losing, right? That's
Yeah.
the game where we would pick against the favored road team, and that's
Yeah.
you could kind of feel it. You could feel
Yeah.
that the set of like excitement for the Beavers, but like it shouldn't have been Colorado.
Yeah.
It should have been, like, in this case, maybe the final nail in USC's coffin. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
many call it the Nashville of the Pacific, the Vanderbilt of the Pacific, if you will.
But I will say, I don't think, like, truthfully, I don't think people were like melancholy, but you could just feel that it felt a bit JV-ish, and knowing what even just last year, what it was and what it had been over the last 5, 6, 7 years, it's just like it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah, it's really hard. I think it's probably really hard for Jonathan Smith to get people up for, to get his team, like, forget, recruiting people to come in and like be committed to this program. Just hard to get people up for games, right? Because you're Oregon State and you're playing a Mountain West conference schedule, and you feel like that you are above all of these teams, which if you go into games feeling that way, you get got. And the fact that game went to double overtime, not taking away anything from Colorado State, because I do think they have a very good program, but Oregon State should beat them. I think there's a lot of Mountain West teams that are very good, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't
Boise.
know if you've heard of Ashen Genty. He's pretty good. But like, yeah, I think it honestly, the coaching job that Jonathan Smith has to do this year, and the coaching job at Washington State, it's probably two of the hardest jobs in the nation this year.
Well, Jonathan Smith is now in East Lansing, so he doesn't have to worry about it. But
sorry, yeah,
it's Bray, I think is his last name. It was their defensive coordinator last year. Is the head coach. I think it's Bray.
Okay, well, thank you for correcting me on that. But yes, the coaching job that has to be done in Oregon State and Washington State this year is gargantuan mountain to climb.
It's just a shame. And now that I've been there and it's just like you see the people, I can only imagine the buzz because they love the Beavers, and it was primarily, I wouldn't say it was sold out, maybe like 75% filled. It was pretty filled, but you could just tell especially the people that we were around are super passionate about the Beavers and were so excited, and we're a pretty good crowd. The band was much more into it than Oregon. Obviously, the atmosphere wasn't the same, but I can only picture what the atmosphere would have been with the fucking chainsaws on third down. Had it been, a Pac-12 opponent, right? Had it still been that in a beautiful stadium, like.
Well, this is where what the Pac-12 is like rebuilding, and the teams that they brought in. Every single one of those teams that they're bringing in right now is a team that like can get a current Power 4 opponent, and like I think that's the attitude that I don't know how you do it. You have to because there's also talent, right? Like there's gumption and stick to itiveness and having a good attitude of getting things done. Like honestly, like those you have to have talent that can ultimately get it done. You can't just rely on just being real spunky and winning games. But like all of those teams and schools that they're bringing in right now, I think are ready to play at a Power 5 level. So hopefully, they can get.
I hope so.
It would have been great. I mean, had they gotten Memphis and stuff like that, it would have been better. But like, I hope that honestly at this point, brother, say something crazy right here. Just thinking off the cuff. Maybe you bring in the armed forces. Maybe the Army and Navy are having a hell of a year. Maybe you recruit them into your pack.
Yeah. I think that was one of the options. I know Air Force was one that they were really gunning for, but they decided to stay put in the Mountain West. I mean, I think
screw Air Force. They suck, but
this year. But I think on most years they're usually the best of the armed forces.
No. Navy in the most recent history, Navy's definitely been the best, but Army obviously is doing pretty good this year too. So triple option, dude.
I will say one of the things that one of the traditions that I've loved going into it, I got to experience it live, was the chainsaw. What's funny though is like, okay, let me find
get your thoughts together.
Most places have like a some sort of fan base. Like most fan bases have like some sort of cheer or something you would say when you saw someone on the street, go green, go white, roll tide, go Ducks, whatever it may be. And sometimes you have like symbols, like the O, is a big deal, and for Oregon, you have the hook 'em, all sorts of stuff, right? The U. So the chainsaws is a great idea. It's very unique. It's hilarious. Although, like when you really think about it, when Benny the Beaver has a chainsaw, it's like, but you're a beaver, so you should probably just like use your mouth. But I don't know, maybe it has some cavities, whatever the situation is. But the fans doing it is hilarious. However, or like Georgia Bulldogs bark at each other, which is it's pretty hilarious. And so like South trashy when you get like thousands of people doing it. But anyway, one of the things I noticed was like, so when they're doing the chainsaw, like the the foam fingers is very much like for kids, right? The student sections and stuff. They have a hand motion for this. It's not, they don't just have a bunch of these foam fingers. But what they do is they extend. Mainly, I noticed it was the left arm, which was interesting. They extend the left arm, and then they use the right arm to get it going, right? So they go doing this. But like that hand motion out of context, like not at Reser Stadium, I'm not so sure about it. Like I guess if you're making the noise with it, it makes it a little bit better ish. But like you have one
someone
arm,
stick up their hand like this over and over again. Yeah,
right. Or just like you have one hand that's stationary and the other one that's going up and down around it. I feel like it could be misconstrued for a lot of different things. I
mean, if this hand's going up and down, I was just thinking of like, there's depends how far it comes down, but there's an axis of power within Oregon State. Obviously.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to keep my hand, like my arm in view here. It's definitely not up. It's more of on an angle, but it's more about what the other one is doing.
Just jerking off a giant cock.
Yeah. Okay, or maybe like you put your
just
hand
cut
up,
to
like,
the chase on that one.
Yeah. Well, that's what it looks like. But as long as you're going, I guess.
Well,
okay.
Antonio Brown went to Central Michigan, not to Oregon State, so we can probably avoid a lot of confusion.
Oh, that was that's it. Then had a terrible day on Sunday. With all the being in an airport, I felt like Tom Hanks, in the terminal, basically lived there.
I love that movie.
I would do it all again, though. I would go through that to do this again. It was an awesome trip. I really recommend. I can't recommend going to Oregon in general. We didn't even get to go out to the coast, which I really wanted to. Like even like Tillamook, the ice cream. Shout out. That's a little coastal town off the water, which makes the ice cream
and cheese great
closer cheese. to Portland, but. Yeah, awesome. Absolutely loved Eugene and Autzen. Really loved Corvallis and Philomath. I definitely do all of that again, and hopefully, I was texting you. This was definitely something that the two of us have to do. I'd gladly do those two over again. It was awesome. Highly recommend anyone considering going out there. Do it. You won't be disappointed.
I would. I mean, EJ, hopefully, either this podcast takes off or I hit the lottery and I just pay for us to start up in Oregon. People close your ears, but we'll start up in Washington, right? Start up there. Huskies, Cougs, go down to Oregon, make our way down to California. And then, you tell the story. You tell the whole damn world this spare territory. I've never wanted to go to Cal more than after seeing game day. It was incredible. Have a thought for a future spinoff of the podcast based on that.
Yeah.
And then, work our way down Stanford, UCLA, USC, which
we could do a ton, right? You could even start. If you go up to Seattle and go across the Pullman, then you can go down to Boise. I mean, you can find a night game in Salt Lake, like before making your way back west towards Portland and Eugene and whatnot.
I need to see the Brawl of the Wild in person.
I know if you're up there, you got to do that too, right?
Yeah,
hit the Montana schools, but yeah, all right. That's the end of my story. So why don't we take another pee break and I can plug in my computer, and then guys, we can finally get to Ben Schwartzwalder, because I know you guys are just dying to know who this man is as a trophy named after him.
All right, guys, we'll be right back. All right, folks, we are about 2 hours into the podcast. The podcast is focused on college football rivalry trophies, and we are just now getting to the subject trophy. EJ, I know I usually write these descriptions, and I write them to be very focused and centric on the story. Spoiler alert, I think I'm going to be more focused on your Oregon Trail trip as opposed to the trophy on this one. So, especially when I look at the teams that's between, and I, in no world, can imagine that these two are actual rivals. This is like the Civil War between UConn and UCF, like, or what was it? The civil conflict that they was civil conflict or yeah,
Something like that.
yeah, conflict because of UCF.
Yeah.
Cannot imagine that these two schools care enough to have a rivalry. I think this is when I look, it's actually because we had a great Big 12 season, um, and we've had all what we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top tier and 2 mid-tier trophies. How do we put Black Diamond as history rivalry itself? Siri, shut up. Yeah. Anyways, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we're gonna pan this one.
Yes, some of the time, and like I had said earlier, everyone, I'm inside now, so you're gonna get like the smooth jazz, like
Hold on. To prep for EJ's voice, I have prepared a song. Hold on. I prepared a song for EJ's voice. EJ, why don't you lead us in? Why don't you go ahead and lead us into this tale of the trophy?
I will. If you guys are anyone from Metro Detroit, you'll remember 98.7, which is smooth jazz, V98.7. So
That was a little
today,
Careless Whisper by George Michael right there. Hopefully we don't get DMCA'd.
today we're talking about the Ben Schwartzwalder Trophy, and this is a rivalry trophy between the Syracuse Orange and the West Virginia Mountaineers.
A classic rivalry. Classic. You have a bunch of hoity-toity libs up in Syracuse with their ideals and their dreams and their sports reporting, and then you have the good, hardworking, blue-collared folks of West Virginia. So yeah, classic rivalry between people who get wedgies and those who give them.
Yes. So, what are your guesses? Because I know you don't know what this trophy looks like.
Dude, what in like other than someone like a mountaineer giving an orange a wedgie? I have no idea. Like, what could this like? Is it the mountaineer crushing an orange into a glass to have with a large stack of flapjacks? Like, I have no idea.
Well, probably not,
And
because
who
I
the
don't know
fuck is Ben Schwartzwalder?
that's a great question. Well, let me tell you a little about the history of the
God,
rivalry.
hold on, real quick. Before I disparage Ben anymore, did anything bad happen to him? Like, am I gonna feel like a real dickhead because this guy's like, I don't know, like a hero or like a cancer patient or something like that? Am I getting
No,
canceled?
but no, you're not going to get canceled, but you're going to have a bit
Okay,
of egg on your face, given who he is.
Oh God. Well, egg on my face I can deal with. I just don't want to get canceled.
No,
So.
you will not get canceled.
We have a bunch of people from Oregon listening now. That was a joke. That was a joke. That was a joke. You guys are great. You guys are great. Don't cancel me. Please continue listening to the pod. Joke.
So the history of this, intense great rivalry, was the first game between these two schools was in 1945 with Syracuse winning 12-0, and Syracuse won 7 of the first 9 games, which was kind of surprising to me.
That makes sense.
So this game has been played 61 times, which also kind of surprised me, and was played annually from 1955 all the way till 2012.
The amount of times being played makes sense because of the Big East, but Syracuse leading the series is definitely surprising. Cuse is sneaky. I mean, like even they just beat UNLV.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I thought just the trip alone would be enough to take them out of it, but actually they've been playing some very good football recently. So, but like you figure those years where they had Pat White and Steve Sladen, like in West Virginia and everything, like they had really good teams there for a while, and it's like they had a lot to catch up to. I guess West Virginia, and even like during the whole when the whole Marshall plane crash catastrophe happened, like West Virginia was playing great football then. They kind of like made the veer a big thing, so like it was an offense that was dominating people. So yeah, anyways, go ahead.
Well, and as you had said, so Cuse leads this series 34 wins to 27 losses. So still, but even though, like you said, some of those early 2000s Mountaineers teams were like really, really good, like nationally, like, talking
Yeah,
about national championships, they still were behind a fair amount.
yeah, interesting.
So before we get to the trophy, why don't I tell you a little bit more about the man, right?
Mhm.
Obviously you have to be pretty incredible, I would say, to have the privilege of having a college football rivalry trophy named after you. Maybe one day we can be great men as well, and get
Literally,
one named after us.
if I get a trophy named after me, shoot me in the head. Like at the ceremony, shoot me in the head because it's not gonna get better than that for me.
Yeah. Well, Floyd B.
Be
Ben,
tasteful about it, but shoot me in the head.
Floyd Ben Schwartzwalder was a Hall of Fame coach at Syracuse University from 1949 to 1973, where he had the pleasure of coaching future NFL running backs such as Jim Brown,
I heard
and
that guy.
Heisman Trophy winner Ernie Davis. However, Schwartzwalder was also an alumnus of West Virginia University,
Okay.
where despite weighing only 146 pounds, he started at center for the football team and was even an all campus wrestler in
Hold on a
1930.
sec. 146 pounds.
Yeah,
I
because he was a
dated many a girl that weighed north of 146 pounds.
well,
That's
were they all campus wrestlers? Because I feel like when
in the
you look
bedroom.
at
They were in the bedroom. They absolutely were. Yeah, that's why I dated them. Yeah. So
I mean, probably could have put a few out there on the football team too. I don't know. I'd try them out at center.
yeah.
All about leverage.
Shout
Um,
out. I'm gonna keep that.
yeah.
I'm
Well,
gonna,
wait,
I'm gonna
wait,
take
wait.
that. Put that right
But
in my pocket. Yep.
so he
Take that
compiled.
comment. Take it back. Or gets. We're just putting it right there. All right. Anyways.
So while coaching at Syracuse, he compiled 152 to 91 to 3 record. So he was again.
I'm sorry,
There's a
what? 152.91 at 3 at
yeah,
Syracuse?
yeah. That
Okay.
that earns you the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah,
That
that's a
earns you
damn
that
good
bid.
record.
So his best season was in 1959 when Syracuse went undefeated and won the national championship thanks to that sophomore running back Ernie Davis, who won the Heisman Trophy. And that remains Syracuse's only national football title, or national championship title in school history. Which, when you think about it, the fact that Syracuse has one and Oregon doesn't, that just goes to show you really where Oregon's program was prior to the Phil Knight Renaissance.
Wait, EJ, I thought you said that we are going to get an influx of Oregon listeners and you just
No, I'm
disparaged them
just
against,
I'm
against
it's not
Syracuse.
disparaging. It's just to me, we had talked about it during the Platypus Trophy. I think there's especially for East Coasters and things is like there's just that assumption that Oregon has always been a powerhouse. Maybe I guess if you're older, you realize that's not true. But definitely for people our age, like all you've really known growing up is great Oregon football. So if
That's
anything,
true.
I think it's more of like an appreciation for what they are because they were not a struggling, but they were just kind of more of a mid-major school in a place that's not super populated, and
Please
they
don't,
got
please
out
don't
of
go,
that.
please don't go back to episode 4 and hear what I had to say about the lemon yellows. All of our Oregon alums that might be listening now, Oregon affiliated folks. But
No,
also
we
you
we
guys
we
used to be called
love
the lemon yellows, which is
yes.
just absurd.
We
So
we definitely, as much as we love all of college football, I would say there are a few programs that we do not like. I would say Oregon is definitely on our like. We
oh,
have
they're for sure on our like list.
cheered for Oregon.
Yeah,
So
if you are a Sooner fan, you should
sorry.
definitely never listen to this podcast. Is
Um,
that my most hated? Oh God, let me think. Let me just put it out there in the universe
I
and
would say collectively, I think that's probably. I would say obviously you're not
Oklahoma.
a. Yeah, and then
You think
obviously
is the
like I
worst?
don't like Michigan, you don't like Auburn and Tennessee,
Yeah. Oh
but I
God,
would
yeah.
say collectively, I think
Yeah, I
Oklahoma's
get why
probably the
people I get why people like Tennessee. People have no taste and think that that orange is a good color. But Oklahoma, Clemson. Are we a
yeah,
Clemson type
yeah,
podcast?
yeah, yeah.
That's probably it. No, I mean there's some other ones, but Oklahoma for sure.
Yeah.
If you're a Sooner and you listen to this podcast regularly, I don't know, man. I think we're gonna end up on like we're gonna end up on someone's hate list. Like, yeah,
And that's, timely with the Red River rivalry this
hook
weekend.
'em, hook, and we are definitely a pro Texas podcast.
Why don't you scroll down and tell everyone what this trophy looks like?
Oh my god, how far do I have to scroll?
Yeah, I buried it for you.
Wow. What is the guy on the left? What's his situation? Why does he look like a platypus? Oh, that's a weird helmet. Why does his helmet have like a visor? Um, okay, regardless of what's going on with the guy on the left and why his visor looks or helmet looks like it has like a visor, two visors that look
I
like a
think
duckbill.
I think it might hit you when you start to think through this logically. So why don't you tell them? And as you do this, I bet you it's going to hit you.
All right, okay. So the trophy, so I on the back. All right. Well, I guess I'll go to the trophy itself because there's something behind the trophy. So the trophy's in a glass case. The back wall of the glass case says Floyd Ben Schwartzwalder Trophy. The winner of the WU Syracuse game receives the Floyd Ben Schwartzwalder Trophy, started in 1993 to honor the memory of the former West Virginia lineman with the years that he played. And I can't see it, but
If you scroll down, there's two pictures. The second one has a little bit
okay.
more. It's lit up a little bit better.
Yeah. The Schwarzwälder Trophy sculpted by someone. Okay. This is actually a really nice trophy. So, God, yeah, I like this a lot. So it's like a wooden base with like a nice gritty type of wood. With like, so it's a rectangular-ish base. It has a little bit of an angle in, but we'll call it rectangular. Just rectangles with a slight angle in on the sides. And then there's a divot in the center to create like two platforms, right? So a platform on the left with someone, a player kneeling, holding a football. Oh, so this is totally in memory of Ben. So it must be Ben's likeness because the person that's kneeling is like holding the football and like looking down at it. It's like a pewter sculpture of a man who's kneeling on one knee, holding a football, looking at. I can't comprehend what's on his head. You might have to help me with that, EJ. But like he's cradling the football and looking at it, and that has the Syracuse S underneath it. And then on the other platform is an interior lineman, which again I assume would be Ben, with the WVU in like pewter beneath it, and then in between them is a bronze football on like a tee, but like a very nice like ornate looking tee, and the football's bigger and taller than the two statues of the men. I actually really like this trophy. This looks really cool.
Yeah, so I think on the left, I think it's just to symbolize him as a coach, right? So I think it's just a hat. It just might have been like an old style,
Oh,
back in the
okay.
day type hat. But yeah, I think that's what this is supposed to encapsulate is his time at Syracuse as a coach. That's why he's on one knee with football in his hand, and then his time as a player as the center at West Virginia, and that's why he's more of like had the football helmet on and
This
everything.
is this is really cool. Like this is probably very like I mean once ever like was Landon Lincoln, I guess, was the doctor, right?
No, George Jewett,
George Hewitt,
Michigan
yeah,
Northwestern, and that was a very
right.
recent one, a similar concept.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. That's the only other time that we've seen a trophy that memorializes a man.
Mhm.
And this is like this blows George Hewitt out of the water. Like this is like really, really neat and cool. It like it reminds me of like the era where my dad played football and like the types of trophies that you would give out then. I think my dad actually has a trophy of like a football that looks like this. And like these types of pewter statues, like it's just real like that. I feel like the way that football was, um, the way people like looked at football players, because like there's things about like the game today of like back in the day like it used to be harder, tougher, like tough nose. Like I think like trophies kind of like encapsulated that too. Like this is like a gritty, like a grittier time in football where this trophy was made. Yeah, this is really cool. It reminds me, for some reason, it's just remind me a lot of my dad and like when he like the types of trophies that we have in our house from when he played. So, um, yeah, I like this a lot. Again, it's very. I mean, it's no surprise to the listeners that like I like things that are like big and bulky as trophies and like, but the pewter statues with this bronze football in the center, like it's just it's really cool. Striking a chord with me. Could also be the three nimble giants that I've drank, but I think it's really, really awesome.
So this trophy was introduced in 1993, and like we had mentioned, it's named after the um, Ben Schwartzwalder, who was the former center for West Virginia and the coach at Syracuse. And this was introduced later in the year in which he died. So he died in April of '93, and this was introduced later on. And it was sculpted by Syracuse player Jim Ridlin, which you were alluding to, but it's kind of hard with the pictures that we have to see his last name in the description behind the trophy. West Virginia won the first trophy 43-0 at Syracuse and has gone on to win 11 of them. Syracuse has won the trophy 8 times, and like we had mentioned, leads the series overall. But with West Virginia's move to the Big 12 Conference in 2012 and Syracuse's move to the ACC in 2013, the future of the series is in doubt. Has been in doubt ever since then. And there is currently no meetings planned between the two schools. And the two schools last met in 2012 during the Pinstripe Bowl and in 2018 during the Camping World Bowl, which Syracuse won both of them 38-14 and 34-18. However, the trophy was not exchanged there. So there was this isn't uncommon. A few times this has happened where two schools that have a trophy play in a bowl game, and they decided to not count that with the exchange. So that's it for the trophy. Hopefully it's a series that, like we said, you'd never think Syracuse and West Virginia having a rivalry, and maybe there isn't one, but anytime you have a trophy that can be exchanged, we would strongly encourage said schools to figure out a way
Agreed.
to exchange
Agreed.
those trophies as often as possible. So why don't we get to our rankings?
Yeah, looks. I'm gonna make it very simple. Five. Like this is like awesome. Like it. I think it's so cool. It's so unique. The pewter statues, that football, like I said, it's definitely striking chord for me emotionally. because it feels like stuff that like I know that that football somewhere in my house there's a trophy that my dad got that's like that. I don't know, man. It again, I'm also three nimble giants to the win. But yeah, congratulations, Ben. You get a five for whatever's going on with me this evening. So
Yeah, I think for me, it's I would say 4.5. So I think, like you said, there aren't too many trophies that are named after a person, and I think that they did a great job of encapsulating like both schools. I know, like a lot of times, it's like, oh, well, let's just a trophy. How does it symbolize the rivalry? Is it in state and has something to do with that? Does it have a little bit of each school? But because this is a person, and they were able to have a picture of or have a statue of him as a player at the one school and clearly as a coach at the other. I think it does that, and it's pretty
yeah.
unique within itself. And
Well,
like you said, the football in the middle is a great touch as well.
well, and they have to rely on the person here because there's nothing because most rivalries come from geography,
Yeah.
shared geography. That does not exist here. And even like the what we talked about last week with the megaphone, there's some shared geography there, but it's also like the same type of folk, like
Hmm.
East Lansing and South Bend are not super close to each other, but it's the same type of people.
Three
I don't
hours.
think that
It's
you
not
could
super far.
have what, sorry, what?
It's probably like 3 hours. It's not too far at all, really.
Yeah, but
It's
I
not
mean,
not an hour, right? Not 40 miles like
yeah, but
Courthouse
it
Legion.
takes me 3 hours to get to Lancaster, and
Sure.
like Pittsburgh people and people in Lancaster could not be more. Well, anyways, um, that being said, you could not have more different people than those in West Virginia and those in Syracuse, New York. So it has to be focused on this individual, and like that's where it's like, I mean, just jump to the chase right now. Like, what would you change? What would you improve? I don't think you can do anything because it's like this rivalry was built on Ben and like his contributions to those two schools and his sister to those two schools. So I don't know much that you can change. Like, I mean, me being, facetious and a little funny, like I said, a mountaineer squeezing an orange into a glass of juice with a side of flapjacks would be funny. But it's like, uh, I think this is really cool. Like, it seems like Ben was a good dude, for people to go out of their way and make a trophy for him. Like, obviously he had to have been an upstanding individual. So yeah, the perfect score for me. History, you know, I mean, things we like, theft and stuff like that, obviously not here. But Ben, this trophy is created around Ben. It's his life that we're kind of like encapsulating here. That being said, you know, not a lot of history around it. So I'm just gonna give it a two because it also came about like at the late part of what was this 93 that was
Yeah.
introduced and they stopped playing in 2015,
2012.
2012. So yeah, two.
Yeah, I'm with you. It hasn't been a long for super. I mean, now it's been 30 years, but actually, like the amount of time it was
God, that we're so
played for,
old. We're
I know,
so old.
I know,
30
um,
years.
was only about 20 years, and obviously there is no with the conferences with both of them in different conferences. There aren't any plans. I will say though, like I could see. I mean, it's tough because West Virginia definitely does have other rivalries, even closer than that. But I could see it potentially being on a good, Power Five opponent in the new playoff era that's not too far for the schools to travel. I could see them potentially renewing this in the future, just because it's like I said, it's kind of close and not far, and you still get that Power Five opponent versus playing just like an FCS school. So hopefully. The rivalry itself, I'll just say for me, I mean, again, unless someone wants to reach out to us from either one of these schools. I mean, it's probably got to be. I'll give it a 1.5 just because they were conference opponents. So it might have been maybe a little bit more heated during those Big East years, but clearly it's not what anyone thinks of when it thinks of a rivalry. And then now that they aren't even playing each other annually and haven't played each other now in 6 years, and that was a bowl game like happenstance. Can't be too high for me.
Yeah, you're more generous than I am. I'm not giving them the extra half point, just a one.
Yeah.
And competitiveness, I mean, look, I think if Syracuse and West Virginia were to play each other today, it would
I'd say it'd be a
pretty
pretty even match, right?
close. Yeah, it's pretty even match, and historically, I think it's pretty close rivalry. So I'll give it 3.
Okay, I'll go a little higher. I'll give it a 4.
And tier,
I'd say it's a mid tier for me. I can't put it quite in the low. It's probably lower on the mid tier, but I do like that the schools came together to commemorate obviously someone that's had an impact on both schools. So I can appreciate that. And like you said, it is a good looking trophy, and I think they did him justice by it. So
yeah,
I'll put it as a mid tier.
this is when you look at our numbers, go through it, like everything about our numbers suggests that this is a bottom tier. That being said, who they created for, well, my numbers especially have it because I'm a little lower than you on competitiveness and rivalry, but looks of the trophy.
Yeah, we weigh that higher.
What, like that's weighted. That's a weighted score.
Yep.
So it's gonna be mid. It's gonna be lower end of mid. I don't feel right putting this in a bottom tier just based on the looks of it and based on why they did it. So
Yeah.
mid tier for me, just barely.
And like I had mentioned before, this game will not be played this year, and there is no current plans for it to be made or played in the future. But hopefully, like I said, just with the common era now of the new era of college football, with teams maybe willing to play more Power Five or Power Four schools in the non-conference, because you have a little bit more room to wiggle with when it comes to making the playoff. Hopefully, these two schools being close and definitely bus drivable in that sense, right? That they can make this happen in the future. And that's going to do it for us this week. So follow us on Instagram at whiskers.whiskies, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like I had mentioned, I will make sure to post my pictures from the trip when probably on Thursday, right after we release this, as a reminder to listen to the episode or watch the episode, depending on which platform you're using. So yeah, make sure to follow us.
Before you get to your line, given that this is essential EJ right now on Hot 97, watch you send us home, brother.
Join us next week when we talk about the Legends Trophy. For Mike, I'm EJ. Always remember, too much of anything is bad, but too much good whiskey is barely enough.
Cheers, boys.